taking control of the center with a pawn. Building toward an Indian game by controlling the center with the knight instead of a pawn. A solid second move that controls the center and leaves space for the knight to develop. The king's Indian defense prepares to develop the bishop, allowing white to build up a strong center, which black will later try to undermine. White prepares to advance another pawn to the center. Black puts the bishop on the long diagonal in a move called a fianchetto. White takes full control of the center. Black controls the central dark squares and allows the light-squared bishop to develop. This develops the light-squared bishop and prepares to castle kingside. Castling gets the king out of the center and activates the rook. Bishop e3 develops the bishop toward the center and supports the pawn on d4. One of the best moves. Here, white prepares to tuck the king safely on the king side. This threatens to force doubling of pawns. This moves the bishop to a more active square, making it gain scope. This kicks a bishop. This move puts the bishop on a safer square. This strikes at the center with a pawn, trying to gain space. Castling to the same side of the board is a more cautious approach. Right on target. A strong choice. This protects an underdefended pawn that is under attack. This is the strongest option, developing the knight and increasing influence in the center. The knight is kicked by a pawn and must now move or be captured. There were worse moves, but also something much better. The game is still close to equal, but white lost their advantage. This is an equal trade, a straightforward recapture. This threatens to capture a pawn and win material after the follow-up trades. This protects the attacked pawn. Right on target. This connects the rooks, which helps them work together. This blocks an attack on a pawn. This moves the bishop to a more active square, developing the bishop and increasing influence in the center. The better move was to move a bishop to a more active position. A strong choice. This moves the bishop to a more active square, making it gain scope. This is an equal trade. After all captures, this is an equal trade. This maintains the balance in material with a good trade. A clear recapture. Black's bishop has moved to a square with greater activity and control. This places the rook on the 7th rank, where it can be highly active. The better move was to bring the last piece into the game. That's not a mistake, but it's not the best move either. This mobilizes the knight, allowing it to control more of the board. The better move was to attack the knight with a pawn. After all captures, this is an equal trade. A clear recapture. Black activates the last piece, bringing all pieces into play. This creates a strong formation that can lead to threats. The bishop was sacrificed, a stunning move. The knight is kicked by a pawn and must now move or be captured. Only one good move here, and you spotted it. This moves the knight to safety. A solid choice, the correct move to safety. The best option was to move a bishop to a more active position. Great find, this was the only move that works. The rook is now on an open file, which helps control squares across the board. This removes a bishop that was threatening to win material. A clear recapture. The best option was to challenge the opposing rook for the open file. This is the strongest option. White finds a knight-winning tactic with just seconds to spare. This allows the knight to control more squares. This fights against the other rook for the open file. Right on target. This is a fair move. A strong choice. The piece finds a new active square. This move challenges white's king safety. That's fine. This creates a counter threat against the queen, as opposed to retreating. Very strong play. Capturing that queen wins material. A straightforward recapture. The threat on the pawn becomes more serious with this move. This evades the check from the knight. Taking that pawn will win material with the correct trades. This steps away from the checking knight. This creates a pawn chain, linked pawns that form a strong structure. This creates a pawn chain, linked pawns that form a strong structure. This is the strongest option. Right on target. This evades the check from the rook. The pawn is now passed because it can no longer be challenged by pawns as it tries to promote. A strong choice. This calmly removes the rook from an immediate threat. That was a strong discovery and black will win material. One of the best moves. This steps away from the checking rook. This move steps the bishop out of danger and keeps material balance. This move steps the queen out of danger and keeps material balance. This steps away from the checking queen. This kicks a bishop.